Hey you guys, I hope everyone's doing well, and let's jump right in. So it's a little different today, but I think it is helpful. Right? Okay, so today we are diving into something different. Something that might challenge you, confront you, and ultimately empower you. That's the end goal. Empower you in the right positive direction, right? All right, so we're talking about the hidden agreements, the covert contracts, and the unspoken dynamics that have shaped the relationships, betrayals, and strategic plays in your life, in all of our lives, right? We've either encountered them, unbeknownst to ourselves until afterwards, or we're the ones setting them up. So let's try and understand them a little bit. So, okay, but more than that, we're exploring how to break free from them, right? How to reclaim your power and how to navigate life in a way that honors truth, integrity, and love. Some of this message might feel like it's calling you out, and that's exactly the point, right? I think we've literally, in some way, somehow, been someone of strategy, right? Good or bad. Okay, and that's exactly the point. So it's meant to confront the reality of actions, behaviors, and choices that may have caused pain, betrayal, or imbalance. And it's also about helping us understand why these things happen and how we can move beyond them. So let's understand the behavior behind it. Oftentimes, people, especially in situations of betrayal or hurt, create a story in their minds that comforts them, right? It's a story that may include selective truths, omissions, or distortions. This story helps them preserve their ego, their self-image, and the illusion that they acted correctly or were justified. And you guys, a lot of times that is a form in some way. Obviously, if you're not trying to take it to some further down the line extent, but it's a form of protection. I mean, I think that our ego alone protects us, so there's ways to look at it. But obviously, if it's used in a form to intentionally harm others, then we have a problem, right? So that's why we're here. Okay, so we see it in behaviors like denial and repression, defense mechanisms the brain uses to protect the ego. See? So denial says this didn't happen the way it happened, and repression tucks away the uncomfortable truths that would force someone to take full accountability. But here's the thing. These stories are self-serving, right? They might comfort the mind temporarily, but they have consequences, real-world consequences that affect others and block genuine healing and justice. Some people might leave a situation emotionally or physically avoiding accountability, telling themselves it's just an accident or it's not that serious. But this avoidance perpetuates harm, gaslighting the victim, minimizing their pain, and prolonging imbalance, right? Spirit calls us to confront the reality of our actions, our omissions, and our collusions. There is a natural order, a balance, and a justice that seeks to restore what has been lost. Healing begins with truth, the willingness to tell the real story, both to yourself and to those affected. For some of you listening, this message is confirmation. Okay? The injustice you've experienced, the betrayal, the gaslighting, the gaslighting was real. All were real. You were not wrong. And there are forces, human and spiritual, working to bring clarity, understanding, and support into your life, back into your life, you guys. It's the rebalancing, right? And I think we've all been left in these types of situations, right? Like, even with the gaslighting, being left with confusion or getting blocked, and that you were in that situation with another, and you're sitting we both took a part in this. Where do you go from that? And it can be, these are the things that cause damages, that cause traumas, that we are trying to already work out like past, our childhood traumas and all of that, or our family dynamic issues, or just normal day-to-day like work experiences or whatever. Like it's like it adds this like unsettling fuel to the confusion, to the feeling of abuse, so it really can unalign your chakras, and it will push you into a healing. But is it necessary? So these are the types of things like we all need to look into. We all need to understand where we sit in people's lives, and everything we do, there is a cause and effect. And it's not only harming to the other person, it affects you. Fight the feeling or not, it's a trauma. It enhances a blockage, because you're also then resonating on something that you have not put a conclusion to. So we need to be more cautious of these things, how we react, how we treat other people in general. And don't get me wrong, we're going to have arguments. We're not going to agree all the time. But when you blatantly disregard another human being that you clearly were in a situation with, had an argument with, and you shut that off for your own self-preservation, whatever that is, because half the time the other person won't even know what's going on with you, it really puts a block in someone else's life. I mean, especially if like there was caring there was some form of care, love, connection, and you guys, these are among friendships, these are coworkers, like this is lovers, this is everyone. These are all encounters we can have in our lives, and people are very quick to shut people off without a thought. And it's an issue, and it is a huge issue, and this is where we're trying to get back to having that empathy for others. And especially with technology, you guys, like it really is easy to like shut people out, like the whole blocking and all of that. I mean, that from even like a past experience with my ex, like that occurred. Like it was like, didn't want to talk to me, like block, and then it's like you're waiting, like it's trauma infused. It is. It's very, because now if that were to happen with me in a relationship or something, like, it can be triggering, or like someone getting off the phone with you because they don't want to hear your side of it. These are like very, very like they seem like, oh, it's such a simple thing, like get over it. No, it's a cause and effect, and we all feel in different ways. We all deal with these types of issues in different ways. So if we can just be more cautious of how we go about treating people in general would be helpful. For others, this is a moment of reckoning. Okay? Spirit is asking us, all of us, can you admit where you were selfish, strategic, or negligent? Negligent. Can you show humility and remorse? Okay, can you take accountability without weaving a comforting lie for your ego? Because until this is done, you guys, genuine reconciliation, love, and restoration cannot take place. So let's talk about a word that's important in understanding why some people navigate relationships the way they do. Alexithymic. This term refers to a difficulty in identifying and expressing emotions. It's very common, especially in men, though anyone can experience it. Being alexithymic can lead to misreading cues, detachment issues, and misunderstanding how others feel. People might act strategically or even selfishly, not out of malice, right? But because they cannot truly access or articulate their own emotional reality. Okay, so when layered with dysfunctional family dynamics where pain and defense mechanisms are normalized, these challenges can become deeply entrenched, right? And you guys, a lot of obviously like our upbringing stems from family dynamics, and I think a lot of us have come from, in a sense, in some way, some form, have had issues in some way, right, within our family dynamic. And when we're brought up in, especially like even mine in my home, like everything was like hushed or quieted, you know, we didn't speak about things. It's the whole push it under the rug. Or if, you know, there's like abuse in the family, like verbal abuse or physical abuse, you know, like these types of experiences, they can like not only suppress our emotions, but we can also then create either like how we intentionally like treat others, or how we can even like create an illusion around what we think the issue at hand was. And you know, these can go all different ways. And so why we need to be so cautious of our own feelings and how we deal with them. So it's really important to understand what we are feeling, because not all of us, you guys, really can express, right? Can articulate or put together exactly how we want to say it. And that's a process. You need to almost like process the argument, right? And that takes sometimes separation from one another to examine what were those feelings. But when we go about it and like shut it off or neglect the other person, that alone can trigger people into what maybe they experienced in their younger years. Or it just the whole confusion behind it. I mean, it can really settle into and become something so much more than what it really was at hand. Or we try and forget it all, right? You try and forget it, you try and put closure to it. And it makes it really hard for just one person in the situation to really put closure to something, right? It typically takes both parties to do so, and we don't get that a lot of times out here. But it's just a reminder to really reflect on, and all of us, we've all been there, we've all been on one side or the other side of it, right? And just to understand like what can really take effect after that occurs, you know, once someone does get shut off with no responses, anything, like you're sitting in this reminiscing like feeling of it, and it perpetuates, and it can be an extra layer to people's healing, when it should be something that should have been maturely brought to the table again and really sat down, discussed, and come to that closure or a conclusion. And that's honoring self and the other. That's finding that balance again. And that is, you guys, this is not only balance within human beings and giving the respect to one another, but that balances out on this planet. Like, because think about the other end of it. If someone is not choosing to take that healing path of it, or to, you know, really like just understand it or try to, right? Find an understanding within, because we are human. We like to understand. We like to come to a conclusion of all things. It's like that validation, the validating of like knowing like what was going on in that. What is the end goal of this? Is it forever ended? Is it not? But essentially, just overall, really giving the respect to it with ourselves and with others, and understand the other end of it. What if that person doesn't choose to just accept it and move through their feelings and heal? It can go a whole opposite direction. Resentment, rage, like anxiety alone, just being blocked off from the next encounter. You know, it doesn't seem like it's a big deal, but it can be. And you guys, I think it's a bigger deal in most of us than we are even out here saying it, right? It's just really being cautious of it. Being cautious of cause and effect. It's all energy, you guys. We're all flowing, moving through each other, and really just trying to find the balance. And especially when these things are really unnecessary and petty. And a lot of times, you guys, half of these things that occur, like they are petty. Like they're silly fights or whatever. Well, we can look at them after the fact, right? We hope we can, if we even come back into that situation again to like even look at it like that. But you guys, it's healing. It takes time. Time is what it takes. Time to heal through that, to really accept it. And these are emotions. I can't just say I accept it and I'm over it. We'd all love to do that. It's like pressing the red button. I'm done now, you know? So it's a feeling. And if we do not start recognizing how much we are infused by our emotions, everything is connected to an emotion. So we just have to be aware and put yourself in the other person's shoes. So let me just recap. When these things are layered with dysfunctional family dynamics or just it's upbringings, we're all adults here now, you know? So these are those emotional childhood wounds that can stick in us, stay in us, and we're projecting them out as adults, you guys. So why aren't we questioning these things? They hurt, and they hurt in all of us, you know? It always, and it becomes the karma too that we have to reap later if we do not connect the dots, understand where we sat in that situation, and help heal the situation. There is a huge imbalance within that. Not only within the two people, but you guys, it becomes an imbalance amongst the earth. Like, look around. We leave so many loose ends open, and they become traumas that become triggers that just keep, it's a pattern. It becomes a pattern in our lives, and this is what we're trying to break. We have to be aware of this and take the action and the accountability within self to take that action to help heal the situations so it stops, you know, so the balance can come back into order. And it's maturity, you guys. It's really truly a form of maturity and honoring that responsibility that's needed to be had, and take the accountability and do what's right. And that is how you stop a pattern, truly. And you feel better about yourself. You just do, you know, especially if the other person will be receptive, and hopefully so. That takes maturity on the other person's end as well. And that is how we break these patterns. And this is how we deal with our emotions. And this is how we get through the hard, difficult tasks at hand that we created in the first place. You know what I mean? With the fight, with the blocking, and with stop running from our problems. We run from one, you're hopping into another one if you're not doing the healing, if you're not recognizing the problem and not recognizing that we are all a part of it. Like, at some point in time, we're all a part of it, right? So I know it's annoying. It can feel annoying, right? It feels like, well, I don't want to deal with that. But how do we stop the cycle? How do we stop the cycle? We deal with the cycle. We be the more mature person and deal with it. And it will be dealt with. So, anyways, it helps us see not only where harm may have come from, but also why certain patterns repeat in relationships, you guys, and how we can break free from them while cultivating compassion for ourselves and others. Okay, so how do we move forward? First, we recognize the real story, the actions, the intentions, the missteps. Stop hiding behind excuses or self-justifying narratives, you guys. Don't let the ego spin you a good one, because it was not so good. Denial and repression may have offered temporary comfort, but truth restores power, okay? So when we tell the truth, when we speak our truth, when we say our apologies, when we really understand where we were at then and, you know, understand the emotions behind it, then we can fix the problems. We can undo the chains, you know, cut the cords, like free yourself from sitting in those repressed feelings or the anger or the anxiety. Bring the closure in, okay? It's just better for everyone, I think. Second, we take accountability internally first, then externally when appropriate. This is the foundation of healing. Okay? Genuine remorse and the courage to face the truth is far more powerful than pretending it didn't happen or masking selfishness as strategy. Third, we set boundaries. People who repeatedly act with strategy, selfishness, or malice are not safe to keep around, no matter how close they appear to be. Protect yourself. Perfectly protect yourself. Honor your energy. Let justice unfold while you maintain clarity and alignment. Okay? Finally, we cultivate love and integrity in every action moving forward. Learn from the lessons, you guys. Heal your soul. Heal your soul. Love is not enough if it is not accompanied by responsibility. Integrity requires courage, humility, and discernment. True love protects, nurtures, and sustains. It does not deceive or undermine other people. And when you're undermining others, you guys, you are undermining yourself. You guys, I know it just is. As hard as that is to see, it is. And you feel it at some point somehow. Or it's going to hit you in the face in that next relationship. I'm telling you, karma is so real, it's unreal, you know? It'll get you. So break the hidden contracts. Release the unspoken agreements. Refuse to participate in stories that are not true, you guys. Reclaim your power by telling the real story, by taking accountability, and by creating boundaries that honor your growth and your healing. You are a divine being out here on this earthly plane, okay? Learning, growing, and mastering the art of conscious living. Every step you take forward and toward truth, integrity, and courage strengthens your path, aligns you with your justice, and opens the door for genuine love to flow freely and honestly. And it makes your life easier and happier. I swear. So remember, the world needs your truth, okay? The universe supports your courage, and your healing is both your birthright and your responsibility. Step into it, stand in it, live to your fullest, you guys. And when you live to your fullest potential, which is you honoring your truth, you live in your full fulfillment. Because you know you're on the right side of right. You're doing the right thing. You're clearing the karma so you can get your dharma, baby. All right. I hope that was good for you guys. We learned something. Okay. But I love you guys. And I hope everyone has a great weekend. I just realized it is freaking Friday. So I hope you guys have a great weekend. Be safe and be true to yourselves. Be honest. Practice this. Practice this. Okay, don't get in any fights or figure it out if you do. All right. I love you guys. Okay, have a good one. Bye.